She is a top citation in artificial intelligence. She publishing serial of book. She is having a company also specialized in artificial intelligence. Dr. Zahra, it's our close friend from Oman, and she will chairing the session. The next sessions is practitioner sessions for artificial intelligence, best practices of artificial intelligence ecosystem. Dr. Zahra, more than welcome with your speaker. Go ahead and chairing the sessions. Dr. Abdullah Al-Wali, he is away from their country. He will join shortly. And I think the rest of the speaker is there. Jaitin is there, Chris is there, and you are there. And just waiting Dr. Abdullah Al-Wali. No matter if you ask Chris to start, to accommodate the sessions, because we need to finishing before the time. Go ahead, Dr. Zahra.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It gives me a great pleasure to be with you. And initially, actually, I would like to thank Dr. Hanadi and Baraki for these initiatives. This is for the second year we are participating with her. And it's really, it's an amazing event. It led the people from the GCC who are interested in the area of innovation, artificial intelligences, entrepreneurship, to work together to share the best practices between the members, either in the GCC country or in the MENA regions as well. So it's really an honor for me to be with you over here. And as well, the good thing is I have been working on this area. Previously, I was working at, I graduated with a PhD in artificial intelligences. And as well, I have been working for several years at the Research Council in Oman, managing innovation and entrepreneurship. So the topics are really interesting for me. And I welcome you, all of you, for this third session about the best practices of AI ecosystem. We will have, inshallah, Dr. Abdullah Al-Wali, but he will join us later on. We have Christopher Zogby from, he's the CEO of Zaka AI company. And we have Jonathan Lodge, he's a CEO of City Farm Systems, and myself. So we will be presenting today best practices and best approaches to utilize artificial intelligences and to adopt AI technologies within our different areas. I mean, AI is approaching all the fields, even the arts. It can even produce music, it can produce news, and all, it has really a great impact in our life and in every aspect, actually, of our life. I would like to welcome Chris Zogby he's the CEO of Zaka AI company, and actually the Artificial Intelligence Academy that I chair it. We have a good collaboration with Zaka AI company. Zaka AI company, they produce, they're doing capacity building, and they have a really very specialized type of courses related to machine learning, AI, deep learning, different modules of courses. You can find it from Zaka AI company. Welcome, Chris, and you will have 10 to 15 minutes for your talk.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Zahra, for the introduction. And thank you for Dr. Hanadi and the whole team organizing this conference. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm going to quickly share the screen and start my presentation. Can you see the screen?
Yes, it's very clear. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So as Dr. Zahra mentioned, my talk will be around the need for AI education. Quickly speaking, a quick introduction about myself. I am a software engineer. I have more than 10 years experience in software development. And around 7 years ago, while I was working on a startup, I came across the field of artificial intelligence, and I absolutely fell in love with the whole field of AI and machine learning. And I really wanted to share this passion with everyone. So I've made it my mission to help everyone understand and apply artificial intelligence. And ever since, I founded a community in Lebanon called Beirut AI, where we organize community events and we help people to understand artificial intelligence. And I've also founded company Zaka to basically push the AI education further and basically have build the AI ecosystem in the MENA region. So let's get started. What you see here today is the first fully automated spinning mill. This is the first example of an automation. It was invented in 1771 by Richard Arkwright, and it was driven by water power. So as I said, this is the first example we know of automation. And over the last century, machines have always replaced workers in many tasks. We are always looking for new ways to help us do our jobs easier and faster. If you take the example of the agriculture industry, we used to rely on animals and human labor to plant and cultivate the land. And then we invented machines that facilitate the task and made our jobs easier, but we still had to be included in the process. Human operators were still needed to perform the task. Another example is the transportation industry. We used to have horses to pull our carriages, and then we replaced those horses with more powerful engines that can take us faster and further than before. So every industrial revolution is characterized by a certain technology. From the first industrial revolution with the steam engine, up to the invention of electricity in the second industrial revolution, up until the digital revolution with the introduction of computers and the internet. And we're currently living in what we call the fourth industrial revolution, which builds on top of the digital revolution and is fueled by technologies such as big data and artificial intelligence. And the reality today is that AI is taking over a large part of the business processes that were previously done manually. With every new addition to the AI toolbox, companies that do not integrate AI in their businesses will fall behind in productivity and efficiency. And this is true across all industries, which means that you don't have to be working in technology to use artificial intelligence. And this also means that no industry is immune to automation. If you go back to the agriculture industry and look at what's currently happening, today we have fully automated machines that can do basically everything with minimal human intervention. Again, go back to the transportation industry, we got to a point where we have cars that can drive by themselves while we sit in the back seat. So as you can see, automation is slowly taking over even the human operator in each industry. So if you can look at it, in the near future, you can see that AI is being applied to many sectors, and it's revolutionizing any industry that it enters. And in the future, AI will most likely automate many of the tasks that we can do today. So if you look at how does this affect humans, we know that AI automation is helping companies increase efficiency and profit by producing more with less resources. According to Accenture, the impact of AI technologies on business will boost labor productivity by up to 40%. But what about humans? How is this impact and the revolution affecting the humans? From the first industrial revolution on, machines have always prompted fears in humans. We have always been afraid that our jobs will be taken away from us, and the AI revolution is no different. We all know that AI is automating and eliminating a lot of jobs in many industries. In fact, according to this McKinsey Global Institute, by 2030, automation could take away up to 30% of existing jobs today. That's about 800 million jobs. But you can always say that just like any other technology, while some jobs are being partially automated or fully replaced, there are always new jobs that are being created. A study that was done by Deloitte in the UK estimated that over a period of 15 years, there were 800,000 jobs that were eliminated due to automation, but at the same time, 3.5 million new jobs were created, and with even higher wages. So if more jobs are being created than eliminated, this should be good news, right? Actually, it's not that simple, because automation was thought to only be contained to low-skilled or routine tasks. But with advances of technology and artificial intelligence, we are seeing the results of automation being applied to more highly skilled and cognitive tasks, which means that these new jobs that are being created require more advanced skills. And so the challenge is to train and educate workers so they can develop the skills needed and successfully move into the job of the future. So this underscores the critical importance of investing in education and skills development. So what are the essential skills for the 21st century that will allow people to succeed in their careers? It actually depends on who you ask, because it's not very clear. But one thing that all experts agree on is that individuals must stay in learning mode. So you must always learn and relearn and keep on learning so that your skills stay relevant. Many people agree that some of the crucial skills that are required in the 21st century are critical thinking and basically ability to solve problems, creativity and how you can think outside the box, digital literacy, and of course, collaboration and teamwork. And if you look at AI and the tasks that AI is automating currently, you see that these are the least being touched or the least applied or the least parts that were being basically automated by AI. So if you focus on these skills, you're least likely to be automated in the future. And so schools and universities should play their role in preparing students for a world that is profoundly altered by automation and AI. But unfortunately, it's not always happening because the curriculums at universities cannot keep up with the pace of the market. And so I'd like to quickly tell you about how my company and I are basically play a role in this mission of helping students and professionals transition into this world that is altered by AI and other technologies. So Zaka, which is my company, is a community-driven artificial intelligence company. And our focus and the mission is to democratize and advance AI in the MENA region. And we do this by sharing knowledge, providing courses, building solutions, and connecting people. We really believe that having a strong community will be the stepping stones of having a vibrant AI ecosystem in the region. Our services are basically education, consultancy, and community service. And we are global training partners of Microsoft. And together with Microsoft, we do deliver a lot of programs. So our focus is on AI education. And basically, we have different programs, from an AI bootcamp that helps people get started in the AI field. So it helps them remove the confusion of where should I start in this field of AI. We also have a program with Microsoft targeting university students in the region that help them get hands-on skills in AI while also being certified in Microsoft certificates. And we also have the machine learning certification, which is a longer program that helps people transition and find a job as machine learning engineers. So this is where basically we train people and then we connect them with companies looking to hire AI or ML engineers. And of course, we help companies upskill their employees and help them implement AI solutions in their companies. So we have so far given our programs to more than 2,000 participants in the region. And we have covered more than 15 countries in the MENA region. And hopefully we'll be able to scale more and reach more people in the next couple of years. You can find all of our programs and courses on our online academy, which is accessed at academy.zaka.ai. I'd like to end this presentation with a quote that Stephen Hawking said. He said, AI is likely to be the best or worst thing to happen to humanity. I personally like to bet on the positive side and say that AI will be the best thing to happen to us. Thank you all for listening, and I'm happy to answer any question that you have.
Thank you very much, Chris, for this presentation. And as all of us aware, actually, the importance of AI in education and the importance of empowering the youth toward these technologies. And it is really great to have, this type of company that deliver capacity building to the youth and dedicated programs that are certified, that they can leverage the skills that needed for the need of the future. The new market in the future, they need graduate with the skills in developing systems related to AI, either deep learning or machine learning, utilizing different tools within these areas. And Zaka, as Chris mentioned, their main mission is to provide those solutions to our community. If anyone, I think we will go to the second speaker and then later on maybe the questions. Okay. So is Dr. Abdullah, is he here? Dr. Abdullah الوائلي؟
نعم معكم دكتور عبد الله الوالي.
موجود معنا. بارك الله فيك دكتور. Yes. It is your turn now. You will have 10 to 15 minutes, and we'd like you, if you kindly brief us about yourself, and then you start your presentation.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جميعا.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Go ahead دكتور عبد الله.
معكم دكتور عبد الله سعيد الوالي، وكيل أول نيابة العامة الاتحادية لدولة الإمارات، حاصل على دكتوراه المسؤولية المدنية عن الذكاء الاصطناعي. طبعا مشاركتي اليوم في المؤتمر بعنوان استراتيجية الإمارات للذكاء الاصطناعي. محتواها كيف استعدت الإمارات إلى الذكاء الاصطناعي. طبعا في البداية نحن نشكر الدكتورة هنادي المباركي على مبادراتها الطيبة في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي وريادة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا، يعطيها ألف عافية يا رب. بسم الله. طبعا توجه أنظار العالم. أول شيء اعذروني أنا أتكلم معاكم باللغة العربية في المؤتمر، فالعذر السموحة منكم. طبعا توجه أنظار العالم اليوم إلى دولة الإمارات، إلى إكسبو 2020، واللي هو تواصل عقول وصنع المستقبل. أهمية إكسبو طبعا منذ 170 عام معارض إكسبو الدولية توفر منصة لاستعراض أهم الابتكارات التي رسمت ملامح العالم الذي نعرفه اليوم، وسيواصل إكسبو 2020 المحافظة على هذا التقليد بفضل الكشف عن أحدث التقنيات من جميع أنحاء العالم. بإعلان دولة الإمارات اعتماد مجلس الوزراء برئاسة الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم نائب رئيس الدولة رئيس مجلس الوزراء حاكم دبي استراتيجية الإمارات الوطنية للذكاء الاصطناعي 2031، فقد خصصت لنفسها موقعا مميزا في المستقبل القريب، خاصة أن الاستراتيجية تتضمن ملامح وأهدافا استراتيجية لجعل دولة الإمارات رائدة عالميا في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي بحلول 2031، والسعي لتطوير منظومة متكاملة توظف الذكاء الاصطناعي في المجالات الحيوية للدولة. وقد أكد الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم أن دولة الإمارات تمضي قدما لتحقيق رؤيتها وتطلعات شعبها من خلال مشاريع وخطط واضحة نحو مئوية الإمارات 2071 في خطوة جديدة عقب النجاح في تطبيق الحكومة الذكية. أهداف الاستراتيجية: تعد استراتيجية الإمارات للذكاء الاصطناعي الأولى من نوعها في المنطقة والعالم، وتهدف من خلالها إلى تحقيق أهداف مئوية الإمارات 2071 وتعجيل تنفيذ البرامج والمشروعات التنموية لبلوغ المستقبل والاعتماد على الذكاء الاصطناعي في الخدمات وتحليل البيانات بمعدل 100% بحلول عام 2031، بالإضافة إلى الارتقاء بالأداء الحكومي وتسريع الإنجاز وخلق بيئات عمل مبتكرة لخلق سوق جديدة واعدة في المنطقة ذات قيمة اقتصادية عالية، مع دعم مبادرات القطاع الخاص وزيادة الإنتاجية، بالإضافة إلى بناء قاعدة قوية في مجال البحث والتطوير، أي أن تكون حكومة الإمارات الأولى بالعالم في استثمار الذكاء الاصطناعي بمختلف قطاعاتها الحيوية، استنادا إلى استثمار أحدث تقنيات وأدوات الذكاء الاصطناعي وتطبيقها في شتى ميادين العمل بكفاءة رفيعة المستوى، واستثمار كل الطاقات على النحو الأمثل، واستغلال الموارد والإمكانات البشرية والمادية المتوافرة بطريقة خلاقة. وتضمنت رحلة التحول الحكومي 5 مراحل رئيسية انطلقت منذ العام 2000 عندما بدأت الإمارات الخطوة الأولى للتحول الإلكتروني، وبعدها وفي عام 2013 أطلقت دولة الإمارات مبادرة الحكومة الذكية لتوفير الخدمات للجمهور، تلاها إنشاء دولة الإمارات مشروع أول مدينة ذكية متكاملة سيليكون بارك في عام 2014. وقد توجت عملية التحول الذكي في العام 2015 عندما أكملت دولة الإمارات التحول الذكي للخدمات الحكومية بنسبة 100%، والذي أعقبه في العام 2017 إطلاق دولة الإمارات استراتيجية الذكاء الاصطناعي كأول مشروع ضخم ضمن مئوية الإمارات 2071. أهم ما يميز ملامح الاستراتيجية نتضمنها في خطوات تنفيذية واضحة تنبئ بتحقيق المنشود منها في الوقت المحدد، فقد صدرت الإمارات المرتبة الأولى إقليميا في تبني الشركات والمؤسسات لحلول الذكاء الاصطناعي بمعدل نمو سنوي يبلغ 33.5، وذلك وفقا للتقرير الصادر عن مركز دبي التكنولوجي لريادة الأعمال ديتك التابع لسلطة واحد دبي للسيليكون، والذي أعد بالتعاون مع ستارت اي دي، منصة ابتكار وريادة أعمال مسرعة لنمو الشركات الناشئة في جامعة نيويورك أبو ظبي، وبدعم من شركتي تمكين وعرب نت. ومن أبرز الخطوات التي اتخذتها الإمارات في هذا الصدد ما يلي: احتفال حكومة الإمارات في 2019 بتخريج 94 منتسب للدفعة الأولى من البرنامج التدريبي للذكاء الاصطناعي الذي ينظمه البرنامج الوطني للذكاء الاصطناعي بالشراكة مع جامعة أكسفورد البريطانية، بهدف تأهيل الكوادر الإماراتية المتخصصة وتعزيز إمكاناتهم ورفع قدراتهم في مختلف المجالات، بما يدعم تحقيق أهداف استراتيجية الإمارات للذكاء الاصطناعي. استحداث منصب وزير دولة للذكاء الاصطناعي في 2017، وأعلن عن تعيين معالي عمر بن عبد الله سلطان العلماء في منصب وزير دولة للذكاء الاصطناعي، كي تستعد البلاد للاستفادة من الذكاء الاصطناعي وتدمجه في شتى القطاعات عبر رسم خطط مستقبلية تتضمن عمل الحكومة في إطار نظم وأسس راسخة. وقد أعلن الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم عن المنصب المستحدث قائلا: الموجة العالمية القادمة هي الذكاء الاصطناعي، ونريد أن نكون الدولة الأكثر استعدادا لها. البرنامج الوطني للمبرمجين أكبر برنامج وطني مختص في تمكين المبرمجين وإطلاق القدرات الكامنة لدى مجتمعات المبرمجين في الإمارات. وقال سيدي الشيخ محمد بن راشد: نرحب بمواهب العالم في دولة الإمارات لتكون مختبرا لابتكاراتهم وتجاربهم وأفكارهم في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي. نريد من الجهات الحكومية ورواد القطاع الخاص في الدولة تطوير الشراكات وتكثيف الجهود لتوفير بيئة حاضنة ومحفزة لتطور الذكاء الاصطناعي. حقيقة توفر أدوات تعليم جديدة وفرص تمكين جديدة، طرق جديدة لاكتساب المعرفة، حيث يهدف البرنامج الوطني للمبرمجين خلق أفضل بيئة عمل في العالم ليمكن مطوري البرمجيات من النمو والتمييز. ومما يتوفر أيضا دعم للذكاء الاصطناعي 100,000 إقامة ذهبية للمبرمجين الموهوبين عالميا، 10 مشاريع إنسانية مفتوحة المصدر، 10 هاكاثون محلي، 1 هاكاثون عالمي، آلية تقييم المبرمجين، 500 فرصة تدريب مهني للمبرمجين، 100 تحدي برمجة من القطاع الخاص، 10 أقسام للبرمجة في الجامعات، مقر مخصص للمبرمجين في أبراج الإمارات، منصة تواصل مخصصة للمبرمجين. مجلس الإمارات للذكاء الاصطناعي والبلوك تشين. يعمل المجلس على تحقيق استراتيجية الإمارات للذكاء الاصطناعي عبر مجموعة من الأهداف التي تستند إلى آليات رئيسية لتحديد الفرص عبر الدراسات المعمقة للنطاقات التي ستستفيد من إدراج تقنية الذكاء الاصطناعي في العمليات ورفع التوصيات لتطوير البنية التحتية ذات العلاقة بتطبيقات الذكاء الاصطناعي وتقديم الدعم المعرفي مع التأكيد على ضمان رفاه المواطن وسعادته. ولكم جزيل الشكر جميعا.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور عبد الله، بارك الله فيك، ما قصرت. وطبعا معروفه جدا جهود دوله الامارات العربيه المتحده في مجال الذكاء الصناعي، فهي دوله سباقه صراحه كاول دوله اعلنت عن وزير للذكاء الصناعي، اعدت وزاره متخصصه في هذا المجال لاهتمامها الكبير بمشاريع الذكاء الصناعي وتمكين مؤسسات الدوله المختلفه من هذه المشاريع. شكرا جزيلا لكم، بارك الله فيك. ولاحقا ان شاء الله تكون الاسئله باذن الله تعالى. Is Jonathan Lodge available? Dr. Jonathan? Yes, you are here. That's really great. Yes. We are so pleased to have you with us. Would like you to introduce yourself at the beginning and then to start your presentation. We will have around 15 minutes. It's good that we have plenty of time. So we have, instead of 10, we have up to 15 minutes if you need it. And you'll be talking with us about, I think, city farm systems and hoping this related to food and smart farming systems or something like that. I am so pleased to listen to your presentation. Please go ahead with it.
Great. That should be my screen sharing.
Yes, yes, so the screen is there. It's very clean.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, or evening, or even morning for those who are further west.
For us,
Hello,
yeah, good evening.
Thank you. I'm Jonathan Lodge, founder of City Farm Systems. I grew up in the rural west of England with food so local, our milk probably travelled further in the cow than the bottle. And nobody had a clue about the industry that data would become. We have not long seen the outcomes from COP26, where Her Majesty the Queen called for less words and more action to address the issues of climate change. Oh, I'm in the wrong place to do that. Sorry. Has that changed my screen? No, that's not helpful. I'm sorry.
You need help?
That's better.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Obviously, my work is all about food, and this slide shows the scale of some issues. It could easily set the scene for a whole presentation. And we know these are all points of significant focus for future generations. Each agricultural revolution was codependent on an industrial revolution that accelerated mass urbanization. I cover some of this in my chapter titled Feeding a Smart City in Springer's recent handbook of smart cities. So our need for food created some of the very first business methods, many of which we still use today, such as credit from seed merchants who were prepared to accept part of a farmer's harvest as payment, with interest, of course. But industry moved on and left farmers behind, with a focus mostly on optimizing supply side economics. And whilst we may be able to wait months for a new car, we can't expect people to wait that long for food. When I saw the production line for the BMW Mini, we were told completed cars can wait 2 days before leaving the site, during which time they will have built 2,000 more. So if I were at BMW, I would be offering some customers a car within a week and make a bigger profit. But coming back to food, we can see there are many steps and variables along the way, the very type of thing big industry wants to avoid. And this is why in 2017, there were several deaths in America. Several weeks later, they banned the sale of all romaine lettuce, regardless of where or how they were grown, because they were yet to work out where the E. coli had originated. So many of the best quality lettuce that had been grown undercover and didn't even need to be washed before eating were dumped, putting greater strain on other supplies. If we look again at pigs and apply some blockchain technologies, we can have what one colleague on a trip to China called the Internet of Pigs, and that was one of their screens top right. And then all of a sudden, we not only have full traceability, but the intelligence and bankers happy to finance the supply chain as they can know the parents of the pig, what the farmer fed them, when they would be ready for slaughter, and what their value would be at every step of the way. We can also see this approach taken a stage further in Italy. Much of their famous Parmesan cheese is aged in warehouses owned by banks, who know its value, hold it as collateral, and ensure it is well cared for. Like many crops, a lettuce starts with seed sowing and ends with a harvested lettuce in the hands of a consumer, which, for most, is the only bit they care about. Remembering again COP26, we need to equip students to address the issues raised. Cities are, by definition, at the end of linear supply chains, with food supplies heavily reinforced by single-use plastics. As populations have become increasingly urbanized, both enabled by and depending on the industrial and agricultural revolutions, food supply chains have become much longer. Many cities, and some whole countries, rely heavily on food to be flown in. But the costs, carbon, and time involved in our food supplies are obvious to those who know, and to make progress towards net zero, carbon, we need to teach students about how every step is a potential point of data failure. We need trained blockchain experts to track progress. And to keep it simple, we can think of each forklift here as a breakpoint in data and a point of profit taking that never reaches the hardworking farmer, and the lettuce loses nutritional value and quality along the way. For those of us who replace the air freight with a vertical farm, we can see that they're not actually very different. Depending on how they buy their energy, they may claim to have a smaller carbon footprint, but we should never forget that in a large city, they pay expensive overheads and still rely on the most expensive final mile, something every student is taught about these days. Some regions are able to use a traditional supply chain, which often starts with a commercial glass house that depends on gas boilers. And here we move on to the option I work on. We have the ability to automate and install a greenhouse on a lightweight roof, making a building more efficient and avoiding all the costs of distribution. Here we use data to change the business model and unlock the benefits that are only possible when growing at the point of need. This offers all of the benefits of blockchain without the complexity, as we hold all the data from seed all the way through to sale. We can install an automated greenhouse on a non-load-bearing surface, such as the roof of a modern retail warehouse, a hotel, an office building, or an apartment block. They use rooftop greenhouses in India to reduce fresh air costs by as much as 35%. And we can go a stage further and help feed the people in the building below. With COP26 just completed, we should remember all intensive indoor growers must add carbon dioxide, with most running gas boilers all summer, even if it means dumping the heat. Meanwhile, the end consumers are mostly found living, shopping, or working in large buildings where they already pay to dump carbon dioxide at roof level. So, whilst many growers paying more to deliver their crops than to grow them, we offer a carbon-consuming supply chain to make healthy food affordable and hand shelf life to the consumer. So, unlike others, we can address many of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals and help feed a smart city with data, with many additional opportunities in education and crop research. So thank you for listening, and please do get in touch if you'd like to know more via email or the conference app. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for these presentations, and it shows us the importance of AI and blockchain technology in the farm industry. And the food, as he mentioned, is very important for all of us. We cannot wait, not to eat. We can wait not to drive, but as he mentioned it very clearly, the food is one of the essential things for our living. And I thank you for making it very clear. Just I got a chat from Chris, from Zaka company. He would like to leave now because he has a presentation in a few minutes. So we will open up for questions for Chris as well, for Jonathan. So if from the audience, if any one of you have a questions, you can raise your hand or you can write it on the chat. And then I will present, after the Q&A, I will give my presentation. So if anyone who is busy and would like to leave, he will have a room to leave. Yes. Any questions from audience? Mr. Jonathan, if you could tell us about some project that you really deliver it and it has a great value by utilizing a blockchain, especially in the dairy industry. Is there any project in the dairy industry? Because here in the GCC country, and we are really utilizing a lot of dairy products, and normally we are, little bit worried about how good it is. Maybe it stayed for a long time in a truck before reaching us, because I am from Oman. Sometimes we're getting this al-Marai coming from Saudi Arabia. It may take huge days to reach us. So, I mean, how that technology would help us to, just for me or for my kids, when they drink this milk, I am satisfied that it's really a good product with a good quality, and it hasn't been laying in the truck for several days.
There are so many interesting aspects around all of that. Yes, typically in America, it can take 3 days from harvest for salad crops to reach the shelves in New York, or in other areas, it can take, bizarrely, we even see local food taken up to the other end of the country for washing and packing, and much of it brought back. Because we can actually look at growing to order, and this is where AI gets very interesting, because so much food waste is in short cycle crops or post-harvest or post-processing. Because we can grow at the point of need, we use AI to start matching supply and demand far more closely. And that means there are other ways of buffering short-term demand changes. So if there's a rush on salads this afternoon, well, we know tomorrow's crop is only a few meters away on the roof, and we can bring it down early and harvest at floor level. Equally, obviously not so much where you are, but in the UK, we might have an unfortunately rainy weekend, and well, we don't need to harvest, we can leave it on the roof. But there are so many ways we can actually slow growth down, whether that's by reducing carbon dioxide, by reducing the temperature, or shutting off supplemental lighting in winter. And AI really comes to the fore to help us match that supply and demand far better. And I think that's where the interest really comes into its own. And so potentially we can hand a freshly harvested lettuce to the consumer within seconds, if not minutes, of when it's actually harvested. So you cannot buy more fresh. And I think that's going to be a big bonus when it comes to it.
Yeah. Great, thank you very much, thank you. Now a question to Chris regarding some companies, especially big companies and big organizations. Sometimes they find it difficult to hire new employee. And so they would like to reskill the people who they are available within that organizations, and to equip them with the right skills to be able to integrate AI technologies. Is this possible, and what are the paths of reskilling the employee within different organizations to be ready for the AI integrations?
Yes, that's definitely doable, and that's what a lot of companies are actually doing at the moment, because AI is not like a standalone field where you have to come from a specific background. Most likely, when we say AI, we're talking about machine learning and deep learning, and that requires some technical background. So we see a lot of people from the IT sector, like developers and software engineers, who know already how to code and how to build solutions, but would like to add this the extra skill set of understanding deep learning algorithms and machine learning algorithms. And so we've done this with a lot of companies where we upskill their current workforce, specifically their developers and their technical staff, on how they can utilize the data that they have to learn from it and to apply machine learning algorithms on it. So that's definitely doable.
Yeah, but with the basic knowledge of programming languages like Python.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
if you want to apply it, you need to have some basic knowledge in programming.
Yeah, I was attending one of the webinars, and they were stressing about that previously we had like a CIO, Chief Information Officers within organizations. And they claim we should now start appointing Chief AI Officer, Artificial Intelligence Officer, because AI, it considered as well, there is an ethical part of AI. Someone to regulate these things and to keep the organization aware about even the ethical concerns of AI. So I don't know, do you believe on this, or there's no need for a chief AI officer within big organizations?
Yes, I definitely think it's needed, specifically in big organization. And the reason behind this is, again, AI is a tool. Okay, it's not a solution, it's a tool, and it can be applied to a wide range of problems. And those problems can be, for example, in the operations team, in the sales team, in the marketing team, and the finance team. So AI can be applied pretty much everywhere. And usually what you see in big organizations is that they have multiple projects, multiple pilot projects in AI that are taking place in parallel. And you need basically a person, the chief AI officer, to coordinate all of these efforts and to align with the strategy of the company. And so what usually end up happening is they create a new officer because they need to have like a separate section with a separate officer reporting directly to the CEO. So you can have like across all the different departments, you have verticals of AI projects being applied. And so, of course, if it's a small company, there's no need because the number of projects are limited, and you don't need an officer to keep track of. But when you have a big organization where you have hundreds of employees and different departments, you do need to align all of the AI projects together. So that's why the chief AI officer is needed.
The other question for any of the presenters who would like to answer it. Some people, they say AI is not matured yet. So let us wait until the AI become mature, and then we can have it. Similar to the World Wide Web, the system, the portals wasn't mature at the beginning, and we shouldn't rush ourselves to it from now. Let it become mature. What do you say? I mean, is this comment proper thinking this way, or you prefer, I don't know, what's your comments about it? Or even okay. Jonathan, if he'd like to answer, anyone can answer for this. Yeah.
I'll take a minute to see if Jonathan would like to answer. If not, I will jump in.
Yeah, go ahead. I think he's not, he might be away or something. Even
yeah.
Yeah, he's here now.
He's here.
Sorry, I missed that. Could you just repeat the question a bit, please?
Yeah, just some people, they think AI is not mature enough now. We should wait a little bit, especially we are the people who are copying what's coming from the West. Normally people, they say, let us wait a little bit. Let us, the system become mature so we can know the good and the bad things about it before just jumping on it. So what's your answer to this type of message?
I understand that completely now, thank you. I think that's a very interesting aspect. Like many new technologies, a lot of it is about educating the public. And funnily enough, I actually think our approach would be something that would really do that, because we would very quickly show the advantages, because you would actually show the transparent supply chain. We could show where the produce is coming from. And I will talk a bit more about that in my talk tomorrow about the educational aspects. I think it's very interesting. Yes, if people can't see something, they are worried by it. But if you actually show where and how it can work along the transparent supply chain and really make a good step forward, I think they will be less reluctant to accept it in other areas.
So you think it will produce more value, especially when you link it with the blockchain technologies? Yes, great. That's great. Yes, Chris, your inputs?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, it all goes back to also education. So when people don't really know what AI is, they might have ideas of what it's going to solve all the problems in the world. And then they see it's actually not really the case. It just solves specific problems. This is where they see that maybe it's a hype and let's wait for it to be mature. So if you're coming from not understanding what AI is, you will be disappointed. But if you know exactly what it is and how it's mostly useful, then it's much, it's really beneficial. You can see already the results. You can see a lot of companies benefiting and capitalizing on AI as a technology because they know what it is and how it can be used. So my advice would be to really understand the technology, and then once you do that, to eliminate the hype from the actual power of the technology.
Yes. Any questions from the audience? We have a very quiet audience.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I will be presenting now for around 20 minutes, and then they will be chatting after my presentation. So it's up to you. If you're very busy, you can go because we already chat with you. So it's so now I'll just share my presentation and I'll start presenting. But before that, I would like to really thank Chris and to thank all the presenters, Jonathan, Dr. Abdullah, for their presentations.
Thank you, Dr. Zahra. It's my pleasure to be here.
My pleasure too. Thank you very much.
Is it clear, my presentation? Can you see my presentation? Yeah. Yeah. My talk, it will be a little bit similar to what Chris actually presented. It will be mainly about AI and the workforce of the future. So the outline mainly, I'll talk a little bit about technology and the impact of technology on our future. A little bit, I'll talk about the fourth industrial revolution, innovation and digital transformation, the impact of automation in the labor market, future skills needed, and this maybe I will just touch very briefly because Chris he already talked about it, future jobs and some examples of the future jobs. So the automation, when we talk about automation, we mean artificial intelligences and robotics. Robotics, they are equipment that utilize AI algorithms. It will be changing our way of living, how we live, how we work, and as well how we communicate. AI and robotics will really reshaping the government and how the government is providing their services. It will change the education sector, the health sector, the e-commerce, and all the aspects of our life will be changed due to the automation. In the future, it can also change the things that we value and the way we value things. So because of that, I mean, we have to pay a lot of attention to it and to the things that we really value and how to react to it according to the changes that are going to happen. When we look at the future, the number of papers talked about that in the year 2025, they're expecting like 10% of the clothes that people wear will be connected with IoT networks. And the robot will be an active member of boards for different institutes. A successful liver transplantation made of 3D printers is expected. So all these are related to the fourth industrial revolutions and related to the utilization of digital transformation on these in different areas. And as well, the environment, it creates an emerging global type of platforms that utilize these platforms for different services. So companies and organizations, it's very, very important for them to empower innovation, to reskill and upskill the future of worker with the needed skill set. The fourth industrial revolution is a way of describing the blurring boundaries between the physical, digital, and biological industries worlds. AI is a collective force behind many products that we really use these days. Example of this product is the GPS system that we use, that it suggests the route, best route to utilize. The voice-activated virtual assistant that we use in our phones, such as in the Apple series, personalized type of search that we get when we do search in the Netflix or recommendation that we get in the Netflix. Facebook ability to recognize our face and to tag it to our friends. So all those are applications of AI in our lives today, these days. And the Professor Klaus Schwab, he's the founder of the World Economic Forum, and he's the person who started talking about the fourth industrial revolution. He said the changes unleashed by the fourth industrial revolution are so profound that from the perspective of human history, there has never been a time of greater promise or potential fear. So he looked to it in a very positive way. So there is a very great promises from these technologies, and there is a very great potential fears if we utilize these technologies in a proper way. And if we look to these technologies, we can see it is related to blockchain, genome sequencing, cloud computing, Internet of Things, energy storage, autonomous vehicle, robotics, 3D printing, and artificial intelligences. And we can see the impact of different of these technologies. We can see the artificial intelligences have the major impact, and then it comes a blockchain and genomic sequencing and robotics. Robotics are so linked with AI. The robot by itself cannot do much, but the algorithm, the AI algorithm, it makes the robot to react in an intelligent way and to serve in a better way. So you can see the impact of AI is really huge in comparison to even to other types of or other tools of the fourth industrial revolutions. So what is AI? Artificial intelligence is the branch of computer science, which is concerned of making a computer behave like human. A computer system behave like human, that it can solve a problem, it can make a decisions, it can make inferences, it can make a forecast. So a system that can behave like a human, it's referred as artificial intelligence. And the AI system normally it's built on data, and AI and data, they work very close with each other. An AI system, it cannot work by itself at all. It needs data to work in a proper way. So AI, the benefits of AI is transforming actually every aspect of our lives. It had the power to transform the way government around the world deliver public services. As well, AI brings real challenges to government and citizen alike, like ethical problems, etc. Some example of the utilization of AI, bankers are using it to detect fraud and predict changes in the stock market. Insurance company using AI to help them produce policy quotes and to assess claims as well whenever accident happen. It helps police to force to identify suspects utilizing CCTV images. With the AI algorithm, they can detect the suspect that's happening. In the court, it offers advice to the judges. In medical area, there's expert system, which is part of AI, or clinical decision support system that help junior doctor to spot diseases, to recommend certain treatments. So algorithm that use machine learning as well, helping self-driving car. Now, these days, the autonomous vehicle are using deep learning, which is type of machine learning or type of artificial intelligences to navigate complex road. So AI is being used as well by air traffic controller to help keep us safe, either in air or in the ground or in the sea. And now I will try a little bit to explain about some of the amazing, I found some of the amazing facts about AI. The global AI market value is expected to reach $267 billion by 2027. AI is expected to contribute to the economy by $15.7 trillion by 2030. So a huge investment there in this field. That 7% of businesses and organizations, they already employ AI in one way or another. It could be either sentiment analysis or chatbot or certain automation within their business processes. 9 out of 10 leading businesses have invested in AI technologies. So the rise of AI, as Chris mentioned, will eliminate, show the research, 85 million jobs, but it will create as well 97 million new ones by 2025. The new ones, as Chris mentioned, they will need people who are really specialized in the area of developing AI tools and managing those tools. More than 3 billion voice assistants are now in use. The voice assistants similar to Siri have been used, and 8 billion will be by 2023. So we need people who develop these systems, a simple system like a voice assistant. So we need, to empower our youth, our graduates to be able to do such small tools, because these tools will be needed by the industry. And the industry will be looking for people who will be able to develop these tools. The AI industry will be earning $126 billion by the year 2025. 25 countries now are working in integrating autonomous vehicle. So the huge movement, and the autonomous vehicle, as I mentioned earlier, they depend on deep learning technologies. So we need to, to equip our youth with the knowledge of deep learning and how they can, work with these autonomous vehicle, program this vehicle to go to. The self-driving car industry could be worth $600 billion over the next 5 years. So it's a big industry, and we need people who are able to work in this area, to program these tools to work properly. We can see here regarding to this, I bring it from the Harvard Business Research, and you can see that the paper that are published related to AI during the last few years. You can see China they are moving ahead in doing patent and publications related to the area of AI, and then the United States, India, and the rest of the world. So we need to pay more attention to do as well research in the area of artificial intelligences and the utilization of these tools. I will skip this one. So what are the benefits of AI? We mentioned earlier some of the use cases of AI. It increased efficiency and it enhanced governance. It develops smarter and safe mode of transportation. It can solve the problem of the conjunctions. AI can increase access and affordability of quality healthcare. We can, a project was implemented here in Oman. The AI algorithm to detect breast cancer in women. It was very efficient, and it was cost effective as well. It was really time saving for the general practitioner. Instead of them to be looking for all those mammograms and CT scans and X-rays of patients, a system, AI algorithm managed to do it with 98% of precision. So that was a great achievement. So it provides really a great quality healthcare. It helped as well to reduce medical errors, because the system itself, it can suggest if there is any interpretation between different medications, if certain procedure won't be proper for that individual or that patient, it will alert. So as well, this AI system, it helped to improve access and quality of education by providing intelligent tutoring system, adaptive type of learning that adapt according to the learner's needs, learning styles, learner's pace of learning. So it really help to boost the education. AI system as well, it helped to build efficient infrastructure by increasing urban population, and it, in total, actually, AI, it helped us to make to do our business in a much easier way and to live our life in a much simpler and with much higher quality. The Future of Job report, and this report was published by the World Economic Forum in the year 2018. It can show the job that's going to decline, to be eliminated, and the 133 million jobs that are going to be emerged by the next year. So the jobs that to be in decline are data entry, repetitive type of job. You can see accounting, bookkeeping, administrative type of jobs, clerk type of jobs, post services. So these type of job will be eliminated, but more job will be needed. And then the new skills that we need, we need data analysts and data scientists, we need artificial intelligence and machine learning specialists, we need general and operational managers, software application developers, big data specialists. So you can see the major ones are related to AI and data analytics. Now we'll move on to talk a little bit about the major trends related to AI. AI in cybersecurity, it helps because now we are so connected with each other. We are connected with different machines, with different tools. Since we are so connected, so we have more, the attack are more. So by the AI, it helps actually analyze the network traffic and learn to recognize different patterns that can cause a problem. And smartly, with the smart algorithm, can play a great tool in making us safe. The other thing is the AI and metaverse. You heard, I think, Mark Zuckerberg of the Facebook, that they are planning to integrate metaverse, which is about virtual type of environment. So you'll be working in totally immersed VR system that utilize AI to help us do various tasks, to meet with our friends, to do games together, or to relax. So a virtual type environment that immerses the users in this area, and the AI system will guide to a proper according to the preferences of the individuals. The third trend is low code and no code AI, and this is a great news actually, because normally AI system requires huge demand of programmers who spend several weeks to do program the apps or the tool that has AI algorithm. But now, there's a good invention that people, they invent certain solutions like a plugins. So with the minimum programming skills, you'll be able as well to develop AI tools. The fourth one is related to autonomous vehicle. The AI is the brain actually of the autonomous vehicle, and autonomous drones, aircraft. So these are more and more becoming increasingly available, and as we mentioned, 25 countries are looking forward to implement this autonomous vehicle. So it's a big trend. The last one is the invention of the GPT-4. So it makes AI more creative. The AI now can create art, music, poetry, play video game, develop news by itself. So in year 2024, a new model of GPT-4 will be there, and Google Brain redefine the boundary of what's possible. So we can expect more elaborate and seemingly natural creative type of output from an AI systems. I think that's all for me, because I will just talk about this one. So it's 85% of the job will be created. We're not sure about the job of the future job. So 85% of job of the future currently totally are unknown. This according to the World Economic Forum report. And the report as well, it indicates new skill that the labor market will need. And so we need to focus on those new skills. We need to focus in building our capacity, building, if we are in certain organization, how to reskill our people to be able to develop AI tools, how to graduate our students with the right knowledge related to AI skills. Thank you very much. Now I will open up to questions. So if any one of you have questions, please, you are welcome.
Yeah, hello, Dr. Zahra. Thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was amazing, and all the speakers.